Even though we have a 20-year age gap, I genuinely want to marry her. So, please divorce me.
He begged me for mercy. A smile involuntarily spilled from my lips. I had been desperately trying to make our marriage work until now. I thought about the children and our daily life even more than he did. Even if we don't have children, I believe that we can help each other and live together. It seems it was only me who felt this way. I feel like an idiot for having believed in my husband. I feel like a fool for all the effort I put in for the sake of my husband. My heart is so torn up that I can't even understand my own feelings. I must make him take responsibility for this. My name is Emily, a 50-year-old housewife. I live with my husband. It's good to have a lot of savings for retirement these days. That's why we've both been working hard together. We don't have children. We've tried to have children before, but in vain. While I thought there might be a reason for this, I was too afraid to find out and never visited an infertility clinic.
Even if we can't have children, as long as I have Emily, it's enough.
Because my husband said that, I might have been indulging in his words. My husband is kind and gentle, and he never complained for not being able to have children.
Let's take things at our own pace.
Those words from my husband comforted my heart more than anything else. That's how much I believed in him. I did everything I could, cooking healthier foods and studying specialized books to have a child. I did my best to make my husband's life happier. But my efforts never paid off, and I've reached the age of 50, which is a difficult age to welcome a child. That day too, my husband came home past midnight. How was your day? Did you go out drinking today too? When I spoke to my husband, who looked drunk, he seemed surprised, perhaps not realizing I was still up, and made an awkward face.
I told you, you could sleep, didn't I? It's not good to keep you up this late.
After I turned 40, my husband often came home so late at night. Every day, he dines out with colleagues and comes home drunk. Though he tells me you don't have to wait up, you can sleep. I just wanted to have a time with him together and often find myself rubbing my sleepy eyes and waiting up for him.
Do not push yourself too hard, Emily. That's why I want you to take a rest enough.
Thank you for caring. But I just want to do it this way. Saying that, my husband fell silent with a look of guilt on his face. Even if he comes home late and we don't have a time to talk together, the fact that I love my husband and he loves me remains unchanged. Our vow to support each other as a couple remains unchanged. At least, that's what I wanted to believe. However, with him coming home after midnight almost every day, I can't help but worry about his health. Why does he drink almost every day? Is he feeling that much stress? Unable to come up with a solution on my own, I asked my coworker friend for her advice about my husband's situation. The odd response I got was, "Isn't he cheating?" There's no way he's cheating. I trust my husband. Hearing my words, my friend sighed. She then looked me in the eye and stated bluntly,
Emily, your feelings and your husband's feelings might not necessarily be in sync. They might have been misaligned for a long time. That's just how marriage is sometimes.
My friend's words were straight to the point. I could clearly tell she meant it from the bottom of her heart. Could it be that my husband and I are drifting apart? Do we already have different values and ways of thinking? Had the words we vowed when we got married, "Let's support each other no matter what," already turned into a lie for my husband? The part of me that wants to trust him clashes with the part of me filled with doubt, leaving me uncertain about what I truly feel.
Take your time to think it through.
After that, I began observing my husband more closely. Though I didn't want to suspect him, I wanted to be aware if anything was amiss. Yet, deep down, I prayed that everything was fine. However, it felt as if all my hopes were in vain. My husband's return time remained consistently late. Midnight would come, the door would open, and my inebriated husband would return home. This pattern remained unchanged. At some point, our main bedroom became just mine, and my husband began sleeping in his own room. It was another heartbreaking realization. That day, my husband seemed even more drunk than usual. He couldn't even walk straight. That's probably why he didn't notice that he had left something behind in the living room. To put away the abandoned suit, I decided to head to my husband's room. That's when I noticed his smartphone, carelessly left on the table next to his bed. I had no intention of doubting him. I just wanted to see for myself that he was innocent. With that thought, I picked up his phone. And there, on the locked screen, was a notification. It was from a woman named Catherine.
I had so much fun today. Let's go out drinking again soon. Speaking of which, what do you think about this place for a trip next month? I heard they have a couples discount at this restaurant.
The messages that had been sent seemed to confirm that my husband was being unfaithful. The pain was so immense that I fell to my knees right there. I couldn't help but despise my husband who was soundly asleep. My feelings had been betrayed, even though I had always believed in him. After that, my actions were swift. I confided in a friend, saying, "I think my husband might be cheating on me." She kindly advised me on the steps I should take next. First, hire a private investigator. To obtain proof of my husband's infidelity, it seemed best to rely on such a service. My friend introduced me to a particular agency through her connections, and I decided to employ their services. After waiting for about a month, an overwhelming amount of evidence came forth. True to those messages, the two had gone on a trip, and plenty of evidence was gathered from that trip as well. The investigator said, "There's no doubt about the affair." Hearing that, I broke down in tears again. I wanted to believe. That was my only desire. I wanted to believe that my husband still loved me. Ever since I saw that notification on his phone, I had hoped so. However, from the photographs handed to me by the investigator, it was clear that my husband was undoubtedly in love with the other woman. The investigator suggested consulting a lawyer, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. If I confronted him about the affair, our relationship would surely be strained. We might even end up getting a divorce. I lacked the courage to take that step. Seeing me like that, my friend did her best to encourage me, to help me regain my spirit, and to try to make me forget about my husband even a little. She took me to various places. Thanks to my friend, I began to regain my strength little by little, but my days were still weighed down by thoughts of my husband. On a day when I was trying to ignore the fact that my husband was having an affair, he, unusually sober, said, "I have something to talk about." My husband's voice was unusually serious, which made me anxious that he might be bringing up divorce. Sadly, my anxiety proved to be right.
The truth is, I've been seeing someone else. She truly understands me, supports me, and she's like an angel.
Facing me on the sofa, my husband began to speak hesitantly about the woman he was seeing.
I was troubled by my situation with Emily. No matter how hard we tried, we couldn't have children, and that was a constant source of anxiety for me.
During this time, she got pregnant, and I'm certain it's my child. Even though there's a 20-year age gap, I truly want to marry her. So, I'm asking you for a divorce. I had anticipated this. I knew this day would come eventually. Yet, his words were much heavier than I had imagined. I had always thought that someday I would have to face the divorce, and someday I'd have to confront the affair. Yet, I continued to run away, and now I was faced with an inescapable truth. My husband's eyes were more serious than I'd ever seen before. It was clear that he truly wanted to be with the woman he was having an affair with. He must love her that much. I was once again made painfully aware that there was nothing I could do. No matter how hard I tried or how much effort I put in, there was no holding on to him. If I had taken action to end our relationship sooner, would I have been spared this much pain? Would I have felt more at ease? Beyond the anger and sadness, a smile broke through. Yet, I didn't understand why I was smiling. Despite the profound pain in my heart, I didn't understand why I could still manage to smile.
Emily.
Even his voice now sounded so annoying to me. Enough. I don't need this man anymore. There's no reason for me to continue serving someone who's invalidated all my efforts. With that realization, my actions were faster than they had ever been before. Fine, let's get a divorce. I've prepared a joinder agreement of the divorce. Just for moments like this. Saying this, I handed him the agreement paper I had stored in the cupboard. My decisiveness made my husband's eyes widen in surprise. Are you serious about the divorce? He seemed to wonder, but I just had to laugh again. Where was the need to stay with a husband who had continuously betrayed my feelings? Where was the need to keep trying with someone who had invalidated all my efforts? Don't worry about it. Just sign the papers quickly. Urged by me, he awkwardly nodded and signed the joinder agreement. Meanwhile, we continued discussing a property division.
I will pay the property division properly. I cheated, so it's only natural.
Of course, I will claim it. Just so you know, if you try to run away from paying, it won't end well for you.
I will pay it. I'm not that low.
What does he mean by not that low? Wasn't he already the worst kind of person the moment he cheated? After signing the joinder agreement and ensuring there were no errors, I lightly said, "Well then, that's it." I started gathering my belongings. Seeing this, my husband asked in a flustered manner, "Is that all you're going to do?" I couldn't see any reason to do anything for this man now, so I retorted, "What do you mean?" Throughout, he seemed uncomfortable. However, I continued packing, not paying him any mind. Oh right, I should apply for paid leave from work for a while. After all, finding a new place to live will take some time. Maybe I'll choose a place closer to the office for convenience. Thinking about my future, I inadvertently began humming a tune. Seeing this, my husband looked worried. I successfully divorced my now ex-husband and claimed the property division. Having hired a private detective agency, I knew the identity of the woman he cheated with and, naturally, I also claimed her portions of the property division from her. Shortly after, my ex-husband called me. "Hello? What's the matter?" I couldn't understand why he was contacting me now, and as I responded, my ex-husband confronted me in an unusually stern tone.
What on earth are you doing?
His voice sounded both desperate and irritated. Wondering if I had done something wrong, I tilted my head in confusion. But he explained everything before I could even recall. Apparently, he was upset because I had demanded her portions of the property division from the woman he cheated with. While he had agreed to pay the division himself, he hadn't expected that the other woman would be asked to pay as well. She's still in her 30s and doesn't have money, so paying such a significant amount is impossible for her. Seeing the woman he cheated with so terrified of potential consequences, if she didn't pay, he felt compelled to reach out. He then demanded that I retract the claim against her. It's odd to think that someone who got involved with someone else's husband wouldn't need to pay for what she did. She played a part in destroying my happiness, so it's only natural she'd face some consequences. It's only natural to have her pay enough, isn't it? The fact that there was infidelity doesn't change.
I thought the claim would be just against me. And now even against Catherine. Harassing her like this is truly despicable.
From the tone of his voice on the other end of the line, it was clear that my ex-husband was filled with an anger I had never seen before. He must truly care for the woman he had an affair with. Then, why don't you pay on her behalf? I never said you couldn't cover her part. If you love her that much, why not help her out in this way? As I said this, my ex-husband fell silent. But I knew better than anyone that my words were spiteful. There's no way my ordinary office worker ex-husband could afford to pay the division for both of them. If he had that kind of money to spare, he would have acted differently a long time ago. Or are you not willing to help out the person you claim to love when they're in a pinch? As I provocatively said this, my ex-husband retorted, "That's not true." His response irked me, so I decided to deliver another devastating blow to him. "By the way, have you moved out of that house?"
No, I haven't. I plan to live there with her from now on.
As expected, my ex-husband intended to live in the same house where we once lived together, but now with his mistress. However, that was impossible. "You better move out immediately. I believe it's going on the market tomorrow."
What? What do you mean?
My ex-husband, unable to fully comprehend the situation, looked dumbfounded. His ridiculousness almost made me burst into laughter. Out of pity for my pathetic ex-husband, I decided to enlighten him. Firstly, the house we had lived in was purchased after our marriage, and the mortgage had always been paid by me. Since I had been the one paying the mortgage, the house was, in fact, under my name. After the divorce, I had a property appraisal done during the hours when my ex-husband was at work. The house is set to be put up for sale tomorrow. This means that if my ex-husband and his lover were to stay in that house from tomorrow onward, they could potentially be arrested. My ex-husband was quick to erupt in anger upon facing this reality.
Cancel the sale now. Where are we supposed to live if the house gets sold? She's already said she's given up her place.
That's not my problem, figure it out yourselves. And from now on, don't call me. If you need something, go through our lawyers. What do you think they're for?
Please help us. At this rate,
I have no reason to help. Goodbye. I had no intention of extending a helping hand to my ex-husband. So I hung up the phone, ignoring his pleas. Even after that, my smartphone kept ringing loudly. But as soon as I blocked my ex-husband's number, everything went silent. 2 days later, I happened to pass by the house where I used to live with my ex-husband and noticed that it was up for sale. I guess the ex-husband and his mistress had moved out. Threatening them with the possibility of arrest seemed to have done the trick. I successfully received the division from the mistress as well. So a significant amount of money came into my hands. My ex-husband scraped together every penny, even taking on debts, to pay for his mistress's portions. He seemed genuinely committed to his affair partner to go to such lengths. However, according to what I heard from a mutual acquaintance, he was dumped by her not long after. Apparently, the child she claimed to be pregnant with wasn't even his. Since then, he's been downcast, unable to perform at work, and eventually resigned. He's reportedly now living in a shabby apartment, barely making ends meet. On the other hand, I'm living my life freely and happily without him. My friends even comment, "It's great to see you so lively again." I'm deeply grateful to the friend who advised me back then. So grateful that I can't thank her enough. I'm thinking of taking a trip with her soon. She's looking forward to it since she loves traveling. I want to keep striving, also for the sake of the friend who wholeheartedly supported me.